Welcome to Finding the Voices. I am Monica Ingatam. First of all, I really want to thank you for your coverage for Mr. Arambam Bobby's article.
Right.
That kind of brought out, a glimpse of what is happening. So I thought that it would be great for you to come to our show and tell us a little bit about how you thought about writing that article, and also we wanted to know a little bit about your work and your coverage on sports and Northeast and Manipur, in particular. I will hand it over to you for you to introduce a little bit about yourself.
Right. So I've been working as a journalist for nearly 4 years now. I started off in 2012. I used to write about the domestic gaming in domestic football in India. For nearly 3 years, I used to freelance, and as well as I was one of the members of Fever Pitch, a football blog, and we used to focus on football in the Northeast. Specifically, we used to focus on that, and also bits and parts of the domestic game. And last year, I joined Catch News, which is a digital initiative of the Rajasthan Patrika Group, and I've been here for nearly 7 months now.
We saw that you are from Guwahati.
Right.
Oh, okay. So you are an Assamese.
Right. I'm Assamese, right.
How did you move? I saw that you did your degree in commerce and then
Yeah,
you went into sports writing.
Right. Yeah, people say that's quite bizarre, but actually I was into sports writing since my 12th grade, and I was doing my commerce degree as well. I came to Delhi in 2012, and I actually completed it just last year in May. So I was doing both side by side. I was just juggling two balls at the same time. And I I became a full-fledged journalist just last year in June.
Your coverage is only on the field of sports?
Yeah, mainly focused on sports, and mostly, actually, I mostly like to write about football. So
football, yeah, that's what I read. Okay, all right. Besides football, I did see you covering a couple of articles, and I want to talk a little bit on that.
Right.
So let's start with your article. Did Indian media just ignore the Mr. World from Manipur? So how did you think about writing that article, when your own expertise is in football? And
actually, I think I remember Catch News, I think just 1 or 2 days before that article went up, we wrote something on Thakur Anup Singh, the other guy who had won the Mr. World title. So I remember us writing on that, and just a day later, I saw some Facebook posts, and actually my editor brought it to my notice. He told me that people are outraging on Facebook that the media has completely ignored Arambam Bobby. So I checked out Facebook, and actually even some of my friends were posting about Arambam Bobby. I mean, this is a sport title and nobody's covering. And just that's when, it came to my mind. We should actually write something about him. And he is actually one of the best bodybuilders in India's history. So definitely you can't really ignore him. But again, many people have given a different angle to it. They say that he has been ignored because he is from Manipur. But that's not the truth. There's another guy, Nitin Matri, who also won, but he was completely ignored as well. The thing is,
right. I saw a lot of, I saw in one of the footage when they came back to India, there were a lot of bodybuilders who had won many titles. So yes. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So the main reason why Thakur Anup Singh got the coverage, and obviously he deserves that coverage. The thing is, the other bodybuilders deserve that level of coverage as well. So the thing is, Thakur Anup Singh is a television star. So obviously the Indian media sees him as a figure. just they can put him up as a feel-good story of the day. So I mean, he's just a perfect guy for such a story. And he used to be a pilot, I think, and he gave up his career in the aviation industry to focus on his modeling and bodybuilding career. So that kind of makes for a very good story, and obviously deserves the attention he got. But I think the other bodybuilders definitely deserve that level of coverage as well.
Right. So, so am I getting the feeling that if there are people cribbing that, oh, this person has not been covered, or there is some outrage from some other group of people, then it gets the attention and maybe the media picks that up?
No, I think it's more related to our culture. I think sports, just if you look at India, sports is regarded as more of an extracurricular activity, and our coverage, the media's coverage, is more or less cricket centric. So other sports don't really get the coverage that they need to get. Now, when it comes to bodybuilding, I mean, just news editors don't see it as something that warrants the level of coverage like other major sports, and that is, unfortunately, that is the sort of thinking that is prevalent in the Indian media houses today. So thing is, when it comes to bodybuilding, and in this case, actually, nobody cared about an event which is considered as one of the most important events in the bodybuilding industry. And it went completely ignored, yes, but no, it's not really about people outraging and the media coming on that, focusing on that later on. I think it's part of our culture, and it's not just the media, the entire people. I think we just follow just 2-3 sports and mostly focus on cricket. And I think the other sports, we need to, ingrain sports as a part of our culture until, that changes, our ideology changes, our thinking changes. I think this is how sports is going to cover it in India, unfortunately.
Okay, so yeah, from your perspective, Mr. Arambam Bobby was not covered, not because, he is from the Northeast. It's not like
right.
The media is ignoring, in the sense that, like, when you compared with Mr. Anup Thakur, he got the coverage because he had a presence in the media for his background, working as an actor before.
Right.
But then there were no coverage for other bodybuilders who had come back winning titles, in the same.
One example, Nitin Matre. Nitin Matre is a Mr. World as well, and he works as a gym instructor today, just to fund his career in bodybuilding. So that's the state of affairs in bodybuilding, and that's what we need to change. We can't change the media overnight. We need to focus on changing bodybuilding. We need to make sure that it becomes a lucrative industry, that more people come into sports, not just bodybuilding, into other non-cricket sports, and they make a career out of them, out of those sports, indoor sports.
So, but is the media ignoring, like bodybuilding events because it doesn't create so much interest from the public?
Right.
Or people are not very involved, like games like cricket, everybody even take leave to watch the match, and there is a lot of interaction from the public. So do you think that the media's coverage is less in terms of bodybuilding because of the public interaction, or interest is low?
I think yes, I'll definitely admit that the media has definitely been guilty in this regard. I mean, today the media industry is driven by numbers, and when we focus on numbers, you have to focus on cricket. That's the sad truth. But I think, yeah, there has been some change. I see some change in the industry in the last few years. I mean, 10 years back, just if you turn the back pages of newspapers, just everything used to be cricket, and a little bit of other European football and tennis. But things are changing today. I mean, even Indian football today gets so much coverage in our mainstream media houses, which is really good to see. And I think the main need is to change the culture. I mean, we need to see sports as an important part of our education. And until that changes, you can't really expect this all the sports to be put on an equal footing with cricket. But yeah, the media definitely needs to do much more than what it is doing right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do agree on that. The media kind of respond to what majority of the people like. But what you're saying is that the onus is on both the public as well as the media, for encouraging and making some other sports be more, publicly acceptable and encouraged.
Right.
So, in your experience of your coverage for sports, can you share a little bit about the Northeast, Manipur? What are the highlights? What are the high points, low points?
I think the best thing, and I'd like to specifically say this about Manipur. When you talk about Manipur, when you go to Manipur, the people, sports is such an essential part of their lives. I mean, kids start playing at the ages of 4, 5, right from the beginning of their childhood. And there are football especially, and because I consider myself as an expert in football, I think there are amateur football clubs in almost every colony in some of the bigger towns, which is really unbelievable in a country where there's the football culture is almost non-existent in most parts of the country. I think that's really good to see. But I think the negative thing about Manipur is I'd like to give another example. Say Mizoram, for example. It too has great passion for football. But the reason why Mizoram is doing so well in recent years is because companies are going there to invest in sports. And that is not happening in Manipur. And that's what needs to change. You need to create an atmosphere where people come in from outside and invest there in sports. Today, you need money to run sports. It's as simple as that. You can't just blame the state government, the national government. I mean, you need money, you need people, you need companies to come in and invest. And that's what needs to change in Manipur. And that's not happening at the moment. But in terms of talent, though, I think Manipur, and specifically in football, there's no other state which has the level of talent. There's no other state which can compare to Manipur in terms of the kind of talent in football.
Okay. So can you, going back to your point on people going to Mizoram to invest in sports and events and not so much in Manipur, are you referring to the conflict and I guess the unsettledness in Manipur for people to go there? And
I think that definitely has played a part. I think Mizoram has been much more. I think it's one of the most peaceful states in the Northeast over the last few decades, and that's one reason why people find the confidence to go there and build businesses. And there are so many independent business houses which have invested in the Mizoram Premier League in the last 3.5 years, which is really amazing. I mean, compare that to Nagaland or Manipur. Even in Nagaland, they started the Nagaland Premier League in 2012. In the first season, they had a great beginning in 2012, but after that, it completely faded away. The reason is because people were not willing to invest there. And that's what Northeast states need to try and improve on. I mean, they need to make sure that more people come in and invest in sports.
Okay, got it. So, Manipur, I guess the presence of football is there. There are a lot of talents. The interest is there from the young people. Right. But from what I'm hearing, because there is lack of initiation in terms of, all these sponsors and events being sponsored in Manipur. So there is lack of opportunity for the people in Manipur to play and grow.
Yeah, I think that is definitely one of the main reasons. And I think if you just look at football, there are some clubs. Say there's one club participating in the Neroka in the second division league, the second tier of Indian football. There's one club called Neroka, and they have, some fantastic footballers in the club. And they finished, I think, at the top of the table in their group this time, and they are in the final rounds. So they can definitely qualify for the I-League next year. But thing is, how many clubs can come up? How many more Nerokas can come up in fall? I mean, there are not many people who think it will be a good investment if you go to Imphal and put money on a football club. And compare that to Mizoram. there are so many clubs who are competing at the highest level. Aizawl FC qualified for the I-League. Then Chandmari FC, they came very close. And there are other clubs like Dinthar who can compete with most of the top football clubs in the country. And that is where I think Manipur are lagging behind. In terms of, initiative, I know quite a few people in the local Manipur football industry. I think their footballing knowledge is great. They want to develop the game, but thing is, you need money at the end of the day, and that is what Manipur football needs at the moment. More money, to more companies to come in and help, just give a helping hand to football in the state.
Okay, yeah, but the main reason why people are hesitating is the law and order situation.
I think that's one of the main reason. I think that's one of the main reason why people don't find it very, they don't get the confidence to go to Manipur and invest. I think that's definitely one of the main reasons.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we did speak a little bit about the coverage for bodybuilding, but on, generally talking, I do see that the media picks up more controversial story. I find a lack of stories which would build a more positive image. Like, for example, you and many other investors think that, okay, there are law and order situation and problems, and so the hesitancy in investing or, initiating anything. It is true that, yes, there are challenges, but it is also true that there are, the positive side, and there are success stories. And I feel that the media lacks in covering that. So what is your opinion on that?
I completely agree with you on that. I think when it comes to Northeast, the Indian media tends to focus on the negatives. I mean, the ILP is the ILP's demand in Manipur, the protests over ILP demand, that is the number 1 story from Manipur. But you don't focus on we don't focus on the Mizoram Premier League, for example, the Hornbill Festival, or other major the positives from the region. We don't focus on those things. And that is where I think we need to change. We need to change our mindset, and we need to make sure we don't create a stereotype around the region, which kind of drives people away from going there. Just look at the potential when it comes to tourism. The potential for tourism in the region is so great, but people we still, far from fulfilling the potential. In the tourism industry. So I think the media definitely needs to help drive the actual narrative around Northeast, and not just focus on the negatives. I think I completely admit that we are guilty of that. The media has been guilty of that.
Right, because what I am fearing, and that's the very reason of me finding the voices, is to bring out the positive side, the success story, because when people look at Manipur, it is not only about guns and bombs and conflict. There are a lot of other things happening, and I think there needs to be a balance. Right. Like, for example, yesterday I just interviewed one gentleman from the United States who is taking a team of women polo and also expanding his tour to expand it to other people to go to Manipur and have an experience in Manipur. And like you said, they are going there for a 10-day trip, and I think it's a very great example of how people are traveling despite that it's being painted as a conflicted area. So I would really like to see the media including and picking up stories which are positive and which are encouraging, and not being it's good that, yes, we do need to cover all the other stories, but also I wanted to emphasize and kind of bring it out that, yes, there is a lack of positive and success stories coming out from Manipur as well as other parts in the Northeast.
I completely agree on that.
So you being a journalist, within your potential, we have identified the issue, we have agreed that, yes, positive stories are not picked up. So do you or could you influence in some way so that some of the positive stories are printed and goes out in the media?
Definitely. I think if you have seen some of my stories, I definitely like to do stories, human interest stories, positive stories. Actually, I recently did a story on football in Kashmir, and that is definitely I'd like to do something, even if it's very at a very small level, I would definitely love to try and change the stereotypes that are attributed to the people of the region. Definitely.
Right. No, and we appreciate that. And I realized talking with or interviewing with some of the people behind that there is definitely a lack of encouragement, and I think a little bit of recognition from the media plays a very big role in their performance. So I think even if there is a coverage of a small article or an interview, I think it is very important for creating positivity to paint the Northeast or Manipur, but also for the individual himself or herself.
No, that's definitely true. I think even the individual, it's a very important thing, and it's a matter of huge encouragement if we get some coverage, even if it's at a very small level. It definitely gives him or her a very huge level of encouragement.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I thank you for your coverage and look forward for more. There is another one article which I want to talk a little bit. So you wrote an article on Mary Kom sometime way back in September 2015. Right. I thought that was a very well written article and wanted you to speak a little bit about that.
Thank you. So, thing is, there was a controversy surrounding the selection of Pinky Jangra, who is one of the finest boxers in the country. And Pinky Jangra had beaten Mary Kom twice. First was both the fights were very close actually, and the first one was really close. It came down to the judges' decision because the scores were level. So Mary Kom feels that the judges were biased against her on both occasions, which I don't think is true, because reporters present there, they saw it as a very even fight, the first one especially, and the second one, most of the people who were present there, if you read the reports on the next day of that match, everyone said that Pinky Jangra was the better fighter and definitely deserved to win. And Mary Kom is of the view that the judges favored Jangra because Mary Kom was from Manipur, which I don't think is a very, for someone of her stature, I don't think it's something you should say when you don't have any concrete evidence to back it up. And Pinky Jangra especially is someone who doesn't really speak much in public. And I wouldn't have written that article had I not seen the level of outrage. People were actually attacking Jangra on her Facebook page, which is really ridiculous. That's no fault of her at all. And I think definitely Mary Kom, that was quite, from Mary Kom's part, that was quite irresponsible. To accuse judges of something that you can't really prove, and to put Pinky Jangra, someone like Pinky Jangra, in a very vulnerable position. I don't think that was responsible, and that is why I really wrote that article.
Okay, so you did write in that article that Mary Kom unleashed a barrage of abuse at the 4 judges. So there were some kind of outbursts in that.
Yeah, that was after the first fight, when the scores were leveled, and the judges decided that on the judges' decision, it was Pinky Jangra who won. And after that, she abused the judges very publicly. And I think there were also a few recordings on even the news channels covered that incident very well on the next day of that match. And yes, I think she did behave very very improperly on that after that fight, after that decision.
Okay, and so you concluded the article stating that Mary Kom played the victim's card. So what is your general view? Because I think many of the social media and outbursts, what I see for anything, like if the media is not covering or if there is some problem, it's always, I see the response that, oh, because we are in the Northeast, we are covered, or because we are this, they have been ignoring. So what is your general view on this? Do you think that the media ignores, or do you think that the media does what it is supposed to do in par with the mainland coverage, or does people in Northeast play the victim?
No, I think first of all, when it comes to the media, I don't think it really cares about the mainland and northeast. I don't think it cares about that divide that we think exists between the mainland and northeast. What the media unfortunately cares about is numbers. I mean, for an
Hmm.
online platform, for example, they just see. I want, for example, 1 million numbers say this month. So I'm going to target stories which can fetch me those numbers. When it comes to Northeast, there is a perception that stories around Northeast won't get the level of attention from the readers or viewers, and that is why generally, I mean, you see media houses ignoring Northeast. But I think in recent years, there's been a huge change in the mindset. I mean, the media houses, that old school of thinking that exists in media houses, that is slowly gradually being replaced. I think things are definitely changing for the better in the last few years. I can definitely guarantee you that.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, it's not so much on which location, but it's more the numbers. Definitely, you see an
Numbers,
improvement in the
numbers,
coverage.
right.
Okay, what about the Northeast playing the victim card?
I think there is a section of people who find it convenient to bring up the racial angle. I think there's definitely some form of racism that people face when they come to mainland. I mean, most of the people here, they're completely ignorant of our culture, of our tradition. So I think I can understand that there's definitely some level of racism that exists, and definitely we need to make sure that our education includes Northeast, teaches students that Northeast is also an integral part of a nation. But I think most people who play that racial angle, they find it more convenient because it suits them, it helps them, helps their case. I think the way the kind of racism we say exists, I think it is a bit over exaggerated in this country. I personally haven't faced any level of racism when I've been here for nearly 4 years. I have a lot of friends who have been here, and I've never seen anyone being targeted racially. There are isolated cases, but you can't. I mean, can't generalize the entire mainland based on one two incidents.
Okay, so it is true that yes, there are isolated cases of racism like in any other places, but it
Right.
is also true that, there are people who play victim, but it is also true that there are people like you and many others who have come out from the Northeast and can coexist, with the
most
mainland,
most of
as people call.
most of the people, I think they can definitely coexist. I've seen most of my friends coming out here, they can mingle with anyone else. I don't see it as a problem, even though it's a clash of cultures. I think people, our generation, finds no problem in, I mean, mingling with each other.
Right. But also, again, this is media, right? The media brings out stories of racism, events, where attacks or things happen, but then the media never brings out about how people from different cultures and different places are living together and helping each other and coexisting in a very peaceful way.
I think, yeah, that's definitely. But again, as I said, TRPs and numbers are which other
Right,
things which
right.
drive media coverage. Yeah, that's the
Okay, all right. Yeah, this has been helpful. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I just want to say something about Northeast. I think the media coverage about Northeast specifically, I think people constantly outrage that media completely ignores the Northeast region. But if you just look at the papers and look at just especially the new digital platforms, you look at Quint, Scroll, Catch News, for example. I mean, the coverage that Northeast receives is so much improved than what used to be the case in the last, say, 4 years back. I think things are definitely improving, and yes, I do admit that we tend to focus more on the negatives, but editors and newsrooms are changing every day. I mean, we have. This new generation is waking up to this new generation is driving a different kind of content than it used to be the case some time back. So I think the coverage Northeast gets is definitely improving, and it's going to improve in I mean, it's going to take time, but gradually it's definitely going to improve, and things are definitely going to get much better in terms of media coverage.
Okay, so do you see that there is an extra step, taken or initiative from the media team, like say in your team, to pay close attention of what can be covered from the Northeast? Are the editors and the people like consciously trying, and looking out for stories to be covered?
No, just I'll give you an example. The Assam elections are around, say, 4 or 5 months away, and we have meetings every day to plan content around the Assam election. I haven't seen them for even the Bihar election. So definitely people are focusing more on the Northeast. I mean, things are Assam and Northeast. They definitely can generate the level of attention from the readers as news reports on, for example, mainland India generate. So people are, I think, they don't really that the stereotype that used to exist about the Northeast. I think that's gradually getting replaced, and we are focusing more, starting to focus at least on more of the positives than on the negatives.
Okay, good. No, that's excellent, because I did, speaking on some individuals, I did get the feedback that yes, in fact, they are alert and they want to cover more on the Northeast, and they are looking out for stories. But also I've heard about challenges of, trying to get the story or get in touch with the right people. So do you have anything to share about challenges in getting any stories from the Northeast?
Well, I think the challenge is when I'm sitting in Delhi, it's difficult to say everything about what's happening in the Northeast. I think for smaller media houses like us, it's slightly difficult to cover everything that's happening in the Northeast. But I think when it comes to even the bigger media houses, I think Rajdeep Sardesai wrote a few years back that it's the tyranny of distance that stops journalists from mainstream media houses from covering things that are happening in the Northeast. But if you look at the 2012 riots, when that happened in Assam, one of the first media houses to report on those, to do ground reports on the riots was Al Jazeera. So if Al Jazeera can go there and cover, why can't us? I think that's the thing. The main challenge is people we don't really see. The old school of thought still exists in some part, and they don't really see Northeast as something that would generate TRPs and numbers. So that is the main challenge, the old school of thought that exists, and that is what we need to replace at the moment.
Okay. So, based on your experience, or at least what we see, there are less people going there and reporting from the ground. There are very few people who are going there in Manipur itself to report, or, in the Northeast. And I also see that some of the articles which have been printed are sourced from the social media, or, it could be floating around, which may not necessarily be the truth. But I've seen some articles being printed with incorrect data, and I have personally written to them to question it, and it has been corrected.
That's definitely true. Very people actually go there to do ground reports. Just for example, the protests on the ILP, I didn't see many people, actually many journalists going there to cover what was happening there. And houses of ministers were being burnt, and there weren't many reporters to report on that. And many media houses actually took out reports from social media, from people who were already there, and they took quotes and news reports from them, the people who are already there, and from social media. And that's I definitely agree with you on that, we need more people to actually go there and do reports from the Northeast, and not just sit on desks in Delhi and cover everything that's happening.
Right, because I have a big problem when some of the very important things are being misquoted, because that portrays a very different picture, because a lot of people depend on the media, to get the news. Even people like me who are outside, like we read and then we see, but because I have sources back home, I know that, okay, this is correct and this is incorrect. I wanted to point it out that people are sourcing the news from social media without checking the correctness and authenticity of it.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.